and welcome to episode 2 of Who Drank the Kool-Aid. I'm Mouse, and I'd like to introduce my co-host Wolfie. Did you manage to find your shit on the dark web last week?
No, I went to Nisa instead. I got a hot tip from the pet shop that there was flour in Nisa. So it wasn't a usual shop that I go to. I walked in, and no word of a lie, I went up to the dude, and I saw they were self-raising in little bags that he'd measured out, and I was like, "Have you got plain flour?" And he went, "Behind the counter." I was like, "Can you sort me out?" He went, "Yeah, you can only have one bag." I was like, "Okay, that's fine." So I literally got it 79 pence. Thank you very much.
Anyway, right, so this week we finally decided to go with UVB-76 and other strange signals.
Yep.
Again, we're just going to chat about what we think about them, as is our want. Right, so firstly, let's go into it. We're going to cover 3 of the theories today, and the first one we're going to do is UVB-76, which I probably think is one of the most famous ones.
Definitely.
Of the 3. For UVB-76, for those who don't know, has been described as an irritating electronic noise that's been broadcast continuously since 1973 over 2 kilohertz channels, 4625 and 4810, and it's been described as a repeating buzz tone that goes for 25 times per minute.
Unusual sounding thing. You can tune it online if you want to listen to a beep for hours, if that floats your boat.
We have got a clip of it.
We do? Have we played that now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Even though this tone has been continued since 1973 continuous, it has been interrupted at least 3 times, and each time a voice comes on and lists Russian names and numbers before going back to the noise.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it?
It just sounds a bit Winter Soldier to me.
Yeah, it's that kind of... If it was still the 80s and the Cold War was still rumbling, I'd be like, yeah. But it's that throwback to the old, I don't know, Eastern Bloc thing, and why is it still broadcasting? That's the thing.
But the thing is, the activity has actually increased since the Cold War's been ended.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
So there has been increased activity on it. And so one of the things I found really interesting about it is it's not just a standard block signal that's gone out. It's not like someone just ploughed this signal into a machine and sent it out. It's like someone's taped it and it's held it up to a microphone.
Yeah, I heard that.
Conversations in the background every now and again. Not loud enough or clear enough to actually make any sense of them, but I don't speak Russian, so it'd make no sense anyway. But it's literally, you can hear people chatting.
Yeah.
And I just find that weird. It's like it's a room somewhere that someone's got, like, I just imagine an old tape player over a mic, and that's just playing out, and then someone's coming in, "Oh, do you want coffee, Vlad?" Yeah, 2 sugars, that kind of thing in the background. So
I have got a recording, actually, the voices, if you want.
Oh, excellent. So from that, it sounds like it's being actively broadcast and maintained. It's not simply just running in the background and no one's actually listening. It's not feedback kind of thing.
No.
So there's been very many theories about this, surprisingly enough. Yeah. So one of the theories is it's Russian.
Russian?
Oh, the Martians are coming. One of the theories is that it's Russian military orders being sent to units across the world, and they're basically recruitment centres. So that's kind of boring for me.
A little.
So a former Minister of Communication and Information of the Republic of Lithuania, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name because I don't fancy getting killed, stated that the voice messages were to inform and confirm operators were still at their stations. So basically they're stopping the sound, they're saying these words and numbers, and then they're having those operators at certain centres feed those numbers back into head office kind of thing to say, yeah, we're still awake and listening to you going boop at us.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of work for just that, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's not so much that it's maintained and people are listening to it. It's just like, why the fuck have you got it?
Yeah.
So they're saying it could be a channel marker to stop the frequency being occupied. So, like, if there was something kicking off, they've got those frequencies set.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Another one was that it's a dead hand signal. So, so that if it stops for whatever reason, it triggers retaliatory nuclear strikes.
Oh, okay. So it's from that kind of, yeah.
Would make
Okay.
sense considering the era that it first started broadcasting.
Yeah. Why is it still broadcasting now? The world's very different. Well, I don't know if Russia's very different because, well, Russia's,
It's Russia.
yeah. I mean, it's not no longer the Soviet Union, which obviously it was when it started. But no, it's a mystery. It's a weird one.
I do think even if it is a dead hand single, I would sit and say I could see it still being used.
Yeah.
Simply because why would you make something like that defunct? Because until there is mass nuclear disarmament, there is still always that threat. And so every nation, I mean, Britain's probably got one. You're going to have a retaliatory strike set in case something happens. To me, the dead hand signal makes sense more than it just being an open channel or recruitment or whatever.
Makes more sense to me.
That's the one that makes sense. Personally, I like the idea that it's sleeper cells. That's my personal favourite. It is sleeper cells. They are activating super soldiers. It is the Winter Soldier. Yay.
Who knows, mate?
Yeah, but that was the Winter Soldier, though, wasn't it? It's just
Yeah,
like
it was.
read random Russian phrases to him and he suddenly went like psycho. And I love that. I think that's brilliant. I know it's probably not a great thing that we suddenly got these super soldiers running around, but yeah, I like that one. It's like, yeah, I love the fact that super soldiers coming to kill us all. Yay! Yeah, it sounds a bit psycho, but yeah, I don't think there's been any definite sort of yes, this is definitely what it is because obviously it's Russian, so they're not going to turn around and say yes or no. But
I mean, this is the same country. No disrespect to any Russian listeners that we have here, but this is the same country that claim to have Hitler's bones, where they don't want anyone to examine them to prove that they are Hitler's bones. So there's a little bit of secrecy around Russia still, isn't there? Quite a lot, actually, in fact.
Yeah, it's like the old thing with the serial killers that they never once released their true numbers of serial killers in their country. So in terms of population, America looks like it's got the most serial killers, but in fact it could be anywhere else from that sort of like Eastern Bloc kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, I don't think we're ever going to know. Hopefully it's not a dead hand and we'll find out because that'd be a bit fucking horrible.
It'd be a bit fucking over.
Well, considering he's got buttons at the moment.
Well, exactly. Who knows?
Do you know what I mean? We're sitting there saying we're never going to know because it's Russian, right? But that goes into our next one, which is the backwards music station.
Mm-hmm.
The backwards music station actually emanates from two spots, one in America and one in Europe. So we can't blame this all on the Russians. It doesn't actually play music backwards, which is a bit of a bummer, but it does broadcast continually loud electronic feedback with banging noises every now and again. It sounds like the worst modem ever.
It's dreadful. It's a dreadful thing.
It's like a terrible dial-up modem from the 90s. It's like, it's like when you're trying to download something that your mum didn't want you to download, and that's all you could hear. It's like shit. But yeah, it's a terrible, terrible noise. First time I heard about it, I thought, oh wow, it sounds awesome because someone had described it as like an electronic noise with banging, and I'm like, that sounds like a lot of random industrial music I listen to. So it's like, I've go and listen to it. It's like, fuck that. I'd actually walk out of that gig, mate. Again, it's just noise. Unlike UVB-76, there has never been any interruption in the signal in terms of human interaction. So you're never hearing background noise of people chatting. You're never hearing it breaks if someone can read out numbers and whatever. It's just a pure. It's almost like a computer static. So, as I said before, it originates in one spot in America and one spot in Europe, but it seems to have been dormant now for a few years. A lot of effort's gone into break down what the true signal is, but it's completely hidden. It's heavily encrypted. So people don't know what it is or what it's for. The frequency it's used is very similar to that used by the US Navy. So there are links again to it being a military signal. Is it another dead hand? Possibly. Why has it gone dormant if UVB-76 isn't dormant? It's one of those.
Is this the one that's linked to the Lincolnshire poacher, or whatever it's called?
What's that?
The Lincolnshire poacher, I think it's a British signal, and they reckoned the two might be linked in some way. And the theory with that was it was an MI6 signal.
Okay.
So again, spies.
Spies.
But I think that's gone quiet as well. But a lot of the ham radio enthusiasts, of which there are many in this country still, you'd like to listen to.
Well, I have something to do. It rains a lot here.
Well, many years ago, this guy who I met had a ham radio, and when you take an interest in something, but it's a vague interest, because my dad used to have a walkie-talkie, so I knew everything about ham radios. And he said, "Oh, would you like to see my ham radio?" And I was like, "Okay."
That's like
because
the worst use of a euphemism.
I know, and literally, I walked into this guy's kitchen. He had 4 microwaves. That troubled me. And then we walked down to the cellar where his ham radio was, and I thought, "Oh my God, I'm going to be made into a fucking lampshade." But I wasn't. He genuinely had this entire cellar surrounded. It looked like the Chernobyl control center, and I was just like, "What the?" I just expected him to have like some little thing that he tuned in. It wasn't. It was this whole room, and he said, "Oh yeah, I listen to the space station when it goes over." Because it goes over X amount of times per day or whatever. And he used to tune into all these weird signals and stuff. And it's quite exciting, I guess, if you like that kind of thing.
I don't know. You got me creeped out when you said, when I went into his cellar, I was like, what the fuck? I've seen that film. I've seen that film. I seriously, no. Why? Why did you go in the cellar? That would have been nothing so fucking nothing so interesting. Radio. Oh yeah.
Well, I hope that he'd play me like a spooky signal, but I think that literally all he does all night is talk to lorry drivers, which isn't the same.
I don't know. We used to do that as kids because my mum and dad were part of a CB club when we were kids. You literally, me and my brothers had code names and everything. It was great fun.
Really?
Honestly, no.
I'm actually really jealous.
We had our own CBs each, so it was like there were so many CBs lying around our house, and it's like you used to talk to people on like truck drivers normally. It always is, isn't it? But because of where we lived in London, we were right near a major motorway. So used to, do you know that like there's police down here? Yeah, it's all shut off. You better take another route, kind of shit. It's just like because my brothers were horrible children. I never did that. No.
No, my dad, that's what my dad had, was a CB, but you could only talk to people who had the same handset. And that I know of, there was only other one person in this country with the same fucking handset who used to go fishing with my dad. But on a night, you could listen to people talking, but they couldn't hear you. But because I was an only child, they used to pretend that they could. They used to play records down it and stuff. Hey, if anyone has a request, hit me up.
Oh my God, there's me sitting there bitch moaning about the fact I've got 3 brothers, and you're like, I was a sad only child who used to pretend that they'd hear me down the other end of this.
It's true.
Oh my God, no. I mean, we went to days out and stuff with this CB club. I used to like that part of it, but the whole talking to random strangers, I don't know. It seems kind of weird when your parents say, "Don't talk to strangers," but here's an active mic. Enjoy, bring them to our house. You know? But then years later, I ended up going out with a geezer who was well into police scanners, and I'm like, really?
I love police scanners.
Really? I can't.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, you can't use them in the UK anymore, because they changed to like a digital signal that's scrambled in this country. But I think the majority of states in America, you can still listen to the police signals and the emergency fire rescue. And sometimes I've got an app on my phone where I'll like listen to the police in America. Honestly, I do. And the one day,
I see you've come far from your childhood.
And I was listening, and the 911 dispatch caller was talking to the police officer, and they said basically this woman had rang up and a child was being naughty, so they wanted the police officer to go to the house to scare the child, because the child had like punched the mom or something. It was like a toddler like really being naughty. And then the police off, and then they said, "Oh, actually, don't bother going into the house." So you get exciting things like that.
That sounds almost as riveting as the evening I spent listening to Southend Police. And you sort of sit there and go, really? Is this all we're going to do? Okay, cool. Don't get me wrong, right? There wasn't a lot to do in Southend, so listening to the police radio was probably the most exciting thing. But as you can imagine, there's not a lot to do in Southend, so listening to the police radio was kind of boring. And it's like, oh, it's really exciting. We had this thing where they did a raid the other week, and like, you know, they caught some criminals running down the street and all this stuff. I'm like, mate, I've just come from work in East London, and we've just had a geezer just come into my shop with a gun and drag out one of my colleagues, try and get some money. You're telling me you listen to someone getting caught by the police, and I'm sitting there going, oh, Jesus, I've got about like 4 years worth of paperwork to fill in because of this. That relationship lasted long. But yeah, the backwards music station, I'm like that. Is it a frequency holder? Is it a dead hand?
I'm not sure.
Is it lost 9 Inch Nails track?
Maybe it's a KLF alternative album. Do you remember? I know someone that paid a huge amount of money once for a KLF album, and there was like a ridiculously small number of these albums made. And I'm not talking about, you know, Justified and Ancient when they did all that stuff. It was the alternative stuff that they did, and it was literally a 12-inch of rustling paper. And he paid a huge amount of money for it.
Oh man, no, that's just brilliant. Yeah. They've got up estimation just for that.
Yeah.
Or my other theory, which links back to my first theory about UVB-76, robot armies.
Robot armies. Okay.
Armies.
Okay.
Yep. It's American and European robot armies trying to combat the super soldiers that Russia are putting out.
Right. So theoretically, you hypothesize there could be robot armies.
Yep.
Okay.
Why not?
Well, why not? Why not?
Why not? I actually think that'd be quite interesting. I'd watch that.
I'd watch it. I'm not sure I'd want it.
Sounding a bit Age of Ultron, though, isn't it? You know,
it is a bit Age of Ultron. It's all Age of Ultron so far. Did you watch it last night?
Was it on last night?
No, I'm just saying you just referencing it a lot.
No, I referenced Winter Soldier, which is Captain America, and Age of Ultron's a separate but unique part of the Marvel universe. Anyway, I'm not missing those films at all. So we've got two weird and strange noises there, and that goes on to the third one, which is the wow signal.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to pronounce it as like wow because it's got that exclamation point after it.
It has. I mean, the feed out thing, because it came out on that paper.
Yeah.
And he circled it and put wow next to it, which is why they call it wow for whatever reason. It reminds me of Contact. You know that film where Jodie Foster sat in the field?
The wow signal, for those who don't know, a radio signal pulled up at the Big Ear radio telescope. I love the name of that radio telescope.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
The Big Ear radio. You can just imagine what it should look like. I know it doesn't, but it should look like
massive ear.
Yeah, massive ear on a hill.
Yeah.
With one of those old-fashioned listening horns.
Yes.
That would be brilliant. Oh, yeah. I should be a scientist. I've got all these great ideas. Anyway, For those who don't know, the Big-Eared Radio Telescope monitors space noise and tries to discern between random, crappy background noise feedback from the universe and specific radio waves. You're the science nerd, so if I'm wrong, pull me up.
No. That seems right to me.
Right, so it monitors space noise. Space noise. That's so technical.
There's no noise. There's no noise.
There's no noise, but
because there's no ears in space. There's no atmosphere. It's a vacuum.
On a hill somewhere, though.
Yeah.
No, in space, no one can hear you scream.
Yeah.
But we can monitor on Earth with a big ear.
Yeah.
So it monitors space noise. I don't know how else to describe it. Without getting super technical.
Yeah, okay. Then no, I can't explain it without getting super technical. I'm sorry, go on.
So anyway, it monitors space noise, and the ranges are 0 to 10, and then A to Z, which are the normal monitoring ranges. And most of the static, shall we say, that they pick up. Yeah, it fits into one of those. So it's either a 6 or a 4 or a B. So that's the normal thing. So what stands out most about the wow signal was that it actually fluctuated across the range. So the wow signal was 6EQ UJ5.
Okay, that is quite a fluctuation, isn't it?
Yeah. So when you think it ranges from 0 to 10, and then from 10 it goes A to Z, that's a huge range. It fluctuates over. So it goes across these 6 different levels and then fades out.
Mm-hmm.
Theories on that?
The only thing that I could think that would make that kind of noise would be a neutron star.
But this is where it gets interesting.
Okay.
So it lasted for 37 seconds.
Yeah.
And it has originated from a seemingly empty point in space. There is no terrestrial planets. There's nothing there. There's no solar system source. There's nothing. It is an empty piece, as far as we can tell, piece of space. And the signal was directed straight at Earth.
Well, empty pieces of space is actually something that I'm really nerdy and into, because between 64 and 68% of our galaxy is missing, in as much as that amount is actually dark matter. So we can't see it. And then 24% of that is dark energy. And the thing is with dark matter is that it's actually the name for a problem, because they can see things interact with it. So they know something's there, whether it interacts with it with gravity or for whatever reason. So we know something's there, but we can't see it. And we don't know what it's there for. Yeah, we don't know what it's there for. So basically, the word dark matter means we know something's there, but we don't know what the fuck it is.
It's my favourite thing about astrophysics. We have no fucking clue. We'll just give it a name and move on.
Basically.
The Big Bang. Can't explain it exactly, but it's the Big Bang. Grand.
Yeah.
You know, dark matter. There. Yeah, it's just dark matter. It'll be fine. We don't know what it is. Carry on. Yeah. It's one of those.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things I like about it, these kind of things, because they don't know what it is, but they make no pretense to actually have a vague stab at it.
Well, no, because the best scientists will say, we don't know what it is. It's the pseudoscientists that will say, oh yeah, I know exactly what that is. I can explain it with nah. I mean, black holes were a theoretical thing with Einstein, but we now know that they exist because our technology allows us to see black holes. So it's the bit of science, astrophysics, I absolutely love. So any signal that comes from space, I'm totally into. But I know that my uneducated guess at that would be a neutron star. But if it's an unoccupied part of space or somewhere where we can't see because there is a lot of dark matter surrounding said area, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
basically. Aliens! It's aliens!
It's aliens. It's always aliens, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so they're saying that it was a continuous signal that just peaked slightly and then shut down. That's one of the theories behind it. They say it could have been a reflection of a terrestrial source, a reflection from Earth, but that's highly improbable and highly unlikely because of where the signal came from in space.
Well, do they know how far the signal emanated from?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
Oh, yeah.
It was over there a bit.
That's brilliant.
Right, but they're still saying it's a signal from space that follows a calculated system, so turning off and turning back on again, like, you know, your regular IT expert. Turn it off and on again and it'll work.
Yeah.
So it has all the trademarks of a produced broadcast. So they reckon it's not an anomaly. And what the top scientists have said, and I love this, the most feasible answer is it's actually spaceships communicating with each other.
I love that.
Aliens!
It's aliens.
It's
aliens.
It's aliens.
It is aliens. I just love that.
But that's what the scientists are saying. That is the most feasible idea.
Yeah, that is crazy.
They literally come out with, it's aliens, mate. It's not just that weird bloke on History Channel. This is actually...
That guy, the famous meme guy, aliens!
Yeah. But it's literally, that's what the top scientists are saying, it's aliens. And I just love that. I think that is brilliant, because it's like, it's what we're saying. In space, no one knows what the fuck's going on. So let's just say, it's alien source.
We have absolutely no idea when it comes to space. I mean, we haven't even explored our own oceans fully yet. So space, the problem is there are certain rules that can't be broken, and one of them is you can't travel faster than the speed of light. And unless we can do that, we ain't going very far.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty big.
Mate, we're going nowhere at the moment anyway. We're still on fucking lockdown.
That's true. That is very true.
Fuck going to space.
Would you want to go to space? If someone said to you, here's a ticket, you can go to space.
It depends where, I suppose.
Where's nice this time of year?
Yeah, what's nice this time of year? Venus. No, it really does depend. I mean, what's out there? I mean, if you're going to turn around and send me to, like, Endor, no, I don't want to go. I fucking hate Ewoks. If you're going to send me to Tatooine, no, not really. I don't do great in the sun even. Hate sand. I mean, it's like, where are you going to send me? Would you go?
No, I wouldn't. You know what? It's like, because the thing that always gets me is you see these amazing photographs taken by the Hubble and whatever else. And yeah, absolutely. And it's like you see the pillars of creation and you're like, wow. But if you went there, it's a bit like, you know, when you go somewhere that's really touristy and you think, I'll be able to take the perfect picture. No, you won't, because there's 200,000 fucking people in front of you, so you won't take that picture.
Mate, I've got taking photos in places like that, and I take a good photo, and you know it.
I do. It's true.
Because I stand there with my arms up in the air, angling it, so you can't see the 250,000 people crawling around me.
But if you went to visit the Pillars of Creation, which I wouldn't recommend this time of year because it's a bit cold, but if you went and you look with your little peepers, they look nothing like the pictures we see on Earth, because obviously they're taken with radio waves and infrared, and they're colorized, and it looks completely different. Or you'd see, I don't even know that you'd see much at all.
I think the only place I'd like to go is the restaurant at the end of time. That'd be quite cool.
Okay, what would they have? Would they have a vegan selection?
Well, considering they got a talking pig that recommends bits of its arse to eat, probably not. There was a Tharg's Future Socks from 2000 AD, which is one of my favourites. Again, spaceships going through, travelling forever, going through time, whatever, travelling to the edge of the universe, and there's a big fucking wall that just says, like, Chaz was here or something on it. I quite like that. I think that's quite cool. But no, I mean, it's one of those things, though. It's like the universe is ever expanding. It's just like, you know, but what's it expanding into? I just sit there and go, it blows my mind, because it's another one of those things I can't quite get my head around all of it.
So, talking about expansion theory, well, eventually they say that there's a few scenarios that will happen, but they say that eventually expanding at the rate that it is, it'll tear apart one of the theories.
Or the Great Elastic Band Theory, or ping back.
Yes, yeah.
And it's called the Elastic Band Theory, and I love that.
I know. It's amazing.
Dogma, Elastic Band Theory, yeah, great. I could be a scientist. I love it. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's so big, and there are so many variables and so many unknowns. I don't know how you can get your head around it without going completely fucking bananas.
I've noticed that recently scientists have started, I mean, this is case point of it, have started to kind of talk more about aliens. It's like the Pentagon, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, released footage and said, yeah, actually, I know it's a UFO. Obviously, unidentified foreign object means
it looks like a TIE fighter. I saw the pictures, and it looks like a fucking TIE fighter. I'm like, that's awesome.
And they released the footage of the pilots talking about it and stuff. So slowly it's like this creeping into consciousness. It's like they're easing us into a hot bath almost. Like, yes, it's just spaceships talking to each other, don't worry. Oh yes. Don't worry, it scared the little pilots in that, you know. Yes, it was a UFO, it's okay, here's a virus. Do you know what I mean?
But the thing is with the UFOs, and this has always bugged me, a UFO does not necessarily mean it's a space.
No, of course not.
Spaceship. It's not
No.
necessarily a flying saucer. UFO is literally unidentified flying object. At one point, when they were first testing drones, there was loads and loads and loads of accounts of UFOs, and it was literally them just testing drones.
And Chinese lanterns as well. Do you remember that?
Oh God, yeah! I saw these lights over my house.
Yeah.
Then when I saw the dead bird the next day, I realised what it was.
Yeah.
It goes back to what we were saying last week. I have to say, the whole thing with UFOs and whatever, humanity wants to explain everything. We need to have explanations for absolutely everything. So I'm not saying we've created aliens. I actually think, yeah, they probably are, because I think it's a very arrogant outlook to think that we are the only things with any sort of sentience in the entire universe. I think it's very arrogant. And I also think it's very arrogant to believe that our planet is the only planet that exists that can, support life, when there's evidence of life being supported on Mars, for God's sake. I'm quite a vain and obnoxious person, but I'm not that arrogant to believe that humanity is the only thing that exists like us.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. There's no way.
But I can't do the ancient alien thing, because that's just like, what?
They twist too many things to fit their narrative, and that has always bothered me a little. So what do you think that the wow signal is? Spaceships talking, is
we're going back to the Marvel universe again. It's Ravagers. They're setting us up with these three things. They're setting us up for the next Marvel movie.
Oh, you think that's what it is? You think it's all Marvel related? So you think that UVB-76?
Yeah, it started in the 70s.
Right.
Yeah, that's when they were really starting to take off.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Then the backwards music station, that's died off a bit because we've done the Age of Ultron now, so that's not that interesting. And this wow signal, preppiness, man. It's the new. It is a really long, really expensive
marketing campaign.
yeah, movie hype. And I want to see the film. I mean, I do think both UVB-76 and the backward music station can be explained quite easily by saying they're dead hand stations. They're dead hand signals, and if they get cut off, then retaliatory strikes. I think that's the easiest explanation for them.
Yeah.
Especially with UB-76, with them having the vocal interruptions on there and saying that they're checking people are still monitoring it and stuff like that. So in the backward music station, again, I think it's a very similar idea. The wow signal, however, fucking aliens, mate. As long as it's not predators, I'm okay with it. But then what would be worse than predators?
Aliens.
What, the actual aliens?
The actual alien, yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I think with the predator, yeah. I always think because they hunt us for sport, that they are more human in some way. They have some kind of intelligence that could be reasoned with, whereas the alien, as in Sigourney Weaver's alien, is more of just a killing and breeding machine. And that scares me far more than the Predator. The Predator's never scared me at all.
I mean, Predator, the original concept, he only hunted people that were like weaponized, basically, people that could fight back.
Yeah.
Unlike the big game hunters we have. The xenomorphs, I don't know. We see, one of the wonders of the school I went to, when we were doing our philosophy A level, we had an entire piece on the nature of the beast, and we watched Alien. And it was, if you think of it as a mummy who's just trying to look after her babies from people that are trying to kill it, was she actually that bad?
Yeah.
And I think the answer to that is no.
No, of course not.
So it's one of those. I think you're right in terms of Sigourney Weaver's Alien, the xenomorphs, that it is more primal, and that the killing, breeding, creating thing is far more primal, and that is a thing that we've evolved ourselves away from. But still there's that down deep thing where it's like, fuck, it's gonna kill, kind of thing.
And it's a scary looking thing.
It's very cool looking design.
It's an amazing thing. I read that in the original I don't know, mask, headpiece, whatever you want to call it, it had maggots in it, so it looked like it was moving underneath. I know, which actually made it worse for me because I was just like, ooh, I just thought that was horrible.
No, that's just not. I've just gone off of that now. Thanks. I
Yeah,
can't watch that film again now without going.
yeah, it's true. They were live maggots. I read.
Where did you read that? Did you read that on Facebook?
No, I read it because I have a bit of an. You're very literature. I'm very movie, and I read a lot of movie magazines. I used to. Yeah.
But no, I mean, I like the design of the Xenomorphs, but then I do actually have a really soft spot for the designer of the Predator. Any alien that's got dreadlocks is fine by me.
I don't think that there's ever been an alien design that I've thought, oh, I wish they were real. To be honest. I suppose the most iconic one is like the grey ones that were featured in like the X-Files and stuff like that back in the day.
Yeah.
And like the Roswell, the classic Roswell alien, with the very large heads. Oh, there's E.T., isn't there? No, I don't like E.T. either.
I've never seen that film. And not for any cool, hip reason, or I want to be cool because I haven't seen. It doesn't interest me.
I've seen it once. I watched it about 2 years ago purely because I hadn't, and I watched it and I just thought this is shit. Really shit. I just thought it was really bad. I think it's one of those things that you have to see when you're a child, and obviously I'm far from a child, and I was just like, no, the kid really irritated me in it. But then I don't like Aliens because of the child in Aliens. She gets on my nerves.
Newt, you hate Newt.
Yeah, I don't hate. That's a strong word.
You dislike Newt.
I yeah, James Cameron had this habit at one point of it just made it a bit saccharine. I preferred the first. I like Alien. I like this. I know people criticize it because they're like, oh, there's not enough action. I'm like, no, actually, there's a very slow build.
Yeah.
In Alien, and that's what controversially I liked about Prometheus.
I saw Prometheus at the cinema and wished I hadn't. It's one of those films that I went to see because I thought it'd be really interesting, and it just wasn't. I'm going to go with the crowd and say yeah about it. It's not again. It's not that I like slagging off shit kind of thing. It's just it just didn't do it for me because I don't like the concept of ancient aliens, which is what that's built on, and I don't like it. It just bugs me.
Yeah.
So I mean, nah, and I didn't find it visually appealing either. I have to say, it was very grey.
It was very grey, actually, thinking about it. It was very grey. But I think it's because I had very low expectation.
Go in thinking it's going to be shit and you'll never be disappointed.
Yeah, I just saw it. I think it was on Sky or something, and I thought, oh, I'll watch it. And I watched it, and I thought, actually, I quite enjoyed that because I just didn't expect anything. Sometimes if you sit down and you think, oh, I've heard this is really good, like E.T., for example, and you think, oh, you perhaps a little harsher on something, and I just didn't like E.T., but I did quite like Prometheus.
That's cool. I mean, you don't like Star Wars.
No. I've seen one Star Wars film, which was I don't know, which was the first one that was ever released. I'm not talking about all that bullshit episode 1 shit that all that retcon crap they did. Which was the first Star Wars film that was first released?
Star Wars New Hope.
That is the only one I've seen. I started to watch the second one, which was
Empire.
And I didn't like it.
What?
Okay. It was all that stuff with Luke and Yoda, and he was making him do press-ups with him on his back. I was just like, what's going on with this little green puppet man doing shit?
It is a little bit homoerotic in places.
Just a smidge. It ain't Top Gun, but
Also girls, yeah? It's one of those films, if you can get past the Yoda crap, it's a really good film.
Okay.
It's, the bits on Cloud City and whatever. It's if you can get past the Luke stuff, it's good. But then I'm not into Jedi's, so I can't say anything. I like because Boba Fett's in it, so it's like, I do like myself a bounty hunter. Bosk's in it as well, and I'm like, why? I had a cat called that. Though I have to say, even if you're not a huge Star Wars fan, Rogue One is very good.
Have you seen the new Terminator film?
No.
Dark Fate.
No. I'm not a huge Terminator fan. That's the noise I make whenever you slag off Star Wars. Is that the how are we friends moment?
I just have a thing for killer robots.
And you're not excited about the bloody backwards music station creating them.
I would be if I could visualize it.
How can you not visualize killer robots? That's so easy to visualize.
Loads of Terminator endoskeletons are waiting to be activated by a signal.
Yeah.
I'm up for that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. To fight the super soldiers that have been activated by UVB-76.
Okay.
In preparation for the aliens coming towards us because we never fulfilled their order that they sent to us via the wow signal.
Okay.
They're still waiting for the chicken chow mein. But don't, it's just a random collection of numbers and letters. It's just like, that is a Chinese order. Oh, no, the 76. The 76, the 23. What's pork crackers again, people? You know. So that's basically our take on the UVB-76, the backwards music station, and the wow signal. Thanks for listening to Who Drank the Kool-Aid. If you'd like to join in the conversation, got any ideas on these theories of your own, anything you'd like us to explore in future podcasts, feel free to contact us at Who Drank the Kool-Aid Podcast at gmail.com, or you can contact us on Twitter at WhoCool, which is at WHOKOOL. You can also leave us reviews, subscribe, do all the normal crap everyone begs you to do. Yeah. Please subscribe. Making me feel validated. Yeah, so great. Get in touch next week. COVID-19 and the 5G and other conspiracy theories relating to it. If you can join us, that'd be fantastic. In the meantime, thanks very much for listening again, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.